Welcome everybody to another episode of the established 1982 podcast, the Geek Culture Podcast, hosted by responsibly irresponsible adults that have loved video games, comic books, movies, and TV ever since 1982. It is your boy, Lawnsman Wally Analog, and I'm joined, of course, by my homies, the gatekeeper of all things civil and orderly, Rose Royce. Yes, sir. And of course, since we're talking about Star Wars, of course, we are joined by my girl, Wish Kid Windu. Or Wish Windu. Is it Wish Kid Windu? Or Wish Windu?
I like Wish Kid Windu.
Wish Kid Windu.
I'm here for
We'll do that one.
Yeah.
Wish Kid Windu.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this Kenobi.
I mean,
We'll
Wish
relate the game.
Windu, if you're nasty.
If you're nasty. Miss Windu, if you're nasty.
There's so many ways to go with that.
Yes, it's a family show.
The views of Wish Kid Windu are not reflective of those. Okay, go ahead.
But that we back, man. It's been a minute again. Kenobi has been has come and gone, and we had yet to talk about it because it was one of the more highly anticipated Star Wars series on Disney Plus. And of course, we did the pregame. Did we do it? We did the halftime, right?
We did.
Yeah, we did the
That's
halftime. We had to do that. And so we gotta close it out. So, we talked a lot about, and we talk a lot about the complexities that are coming up with content to squeeze in little windows of an already existing timeline, right? With Star Wars, and the writers have a very daunting task to try to fit stuff in, without adding on to the lore, right? Like I don't think any of us are ready to see any post-Rey stuff right now, right? So the idea has been, okay, this is what I think. The idea has been for creatives to say, okay, let's give our hardcore fans that have been down since the 70s, 80s, something to look at, Skywalker saga stuff, while at the same time entertaining those who may just now being introduced, whose idea of their first experience of Star Wars is a prequel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That age group, and even younger. Right. Like, you got some who came up on Star Wars. The Rey saga is their first
introduction
to it. So you got a lot of people that you're trying to
you bringing generations together.
Yeah. And so
you are.
But they seem to always try to lay the foundation as one that is built around us, right?
We call it the Skywalker.
Yeah, Skywalker
the
saga.
Skywalker saga, right?
The whole
which is the beauty
Wars.
and it's the beef and the joy of the whole Star Wars fandom, right? But
so now you got a situation where, okay, well, let's tell more story about those that we're familiar with, and Kenobi is that. Like, he's been a pretty mysterious guy. Now, unless you watch Clone Wars, you won't know a whole lot about him.
Clone
Right? Clone Wars basically, and them prequels and stuff. Prequels didn't really give you a lot. It gave you 3 movies
and
worth,
the Rebels.
Yeah. But you got to get into that animated stuff if you really want to learn about
it's canon.
Kenobi. But this was an idea to give you a story that introduced a new character.
No,
Reva, she's new. She's new.
Yeah,
I mean, the idea of an Inquisitor is not new.
But
Reva is
apologies.
New.
Yeah.
But then kind of tell you a story about Leia's kind of origin, and they even gave you a little Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. Didn't know they was that gangster.
Yeah.
They got guns in the safe.
We ain't going nowhere.
It's gangster.
Malcolm X.
And Beru was hard.
My house.
Beru was the hardest one in the house.
We ain't going nowhere.
Jeez.
Right.
Yeah.
But so that's what they did, and
Yeah.
there were some who and we talked about it. There was a sentiment that spoke to, I'm not really interested in people that I already know the outcome, and so then the trick is again making those characters side story, those ancillary character side stories interesting enough, and then making those characters that you knew about already stories interesting and giving them some background. Yeah. And that's where the writing gets tough, right?
The writing, and also just one more thing that's probably really difficult that we talk about is, you're taking a property that came out in 78, 77, 78. Mm-hmm. Then the next prequel came out, in the 90s, 2000s. And then now you have even more trying to tie a story together going back before we go forward.
Right.
And technology is also playing a part. So what it's doing is you're also watching a writing struggle of we can explore the power of the Force. We can we have technology to keep up with what the Force can and cannot do.
Yes.
Right.
That I think George Lucas because he wrote it, he wrote it in there, but didn't have the technology to
right.
correct. And so it's creating for people frustration and plot holes. And it's like
me.
And I know when we had these conversations, when I talk to you, like, okay, Twish, I'm fucked, because I have to give you the story. Because I can't make technology in 78, 77
correct
keep up with what you're able to do now.
Right.
But in all fairness, the Force has always been a thing. It's not a new concept.
Right.
You just couldn't float as many things as you could float now, right? You can't toss bodies where you could toss them.
Right.
And even in the 90s, even that was supposed to be before... That was Anakin before he even got to once we saw in the 70s, like the spaceships and things, like they look so much more advanced. And so I'm only saying it's like it is very difficult, which is why I think a lot of folks have the beef of like, okay, this is a perfect time to pivot away from the Anakin
it's time to
or
get
the
away.
Skywalker Chronicles, because you keep revisiting it and then you keep opening up like wounds or things. And it's opportunity now to explore the rest of the universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I want to acknowledge that because there's some folks I went back to look at in our Facebook group, Van being one, they make really good points. And I want to acknowledge them. Like, yes, I know I'm a Star Wars fan, and I get you. I understand where you're like, okay, I'm over it. Like, this did nothing for me. Like, kind of like, this didn't push the Star Wars any further. And I can understand that. But I do want to just offer this. I think what Kenobi was supposed to do, it was supposed to set up and fill in blanks so you can have an Andor, so you can have an Ahsoka, and you can have other things that happen in Rebels and Clone Wars now come to real life, and you can now connect it to something. I think his purpose was not to necessarily try to stick with, it's all about Kenobi, it's all about Anakin, it's all about Luke and Leia. I think correct. I think you needed it. And it tried to satisfy something where I heard a lot of positive comments, which was now the prequels feel better because you had Kenobi.
Absolutely.
Because you have a lot of people like us who were originals and were like this in the prequels, right? Now I think I have a better appreciation for the prequels because I'm seeing a fuller story that was all just comic books and books at one point. Mm-hmm. It was all sitting in the imagination somewhere. Mm-hmm. And again, if you didn't watch Clone Wars or Rebels, you really didn't have any... like what happened. And so I think for me, there's an appreciation around the Kenobi story, unlike seeing Darth Vader at his height. We don't get that at all.
And
keep in
the
mind
technology has caught up
correct.
to do it.
So but if you get to Rey and them, he's gone. Right? He's not even resurrected. Like they've moved on with their... He's a Force ghost at this point.
Right.
And so to be able to see Vader almost like fresh human still, right? Still holding on to these memories, still holding on to this anger... I like that. Like that's Kenobi did that for me.
Right.
And I think it also again kind of closed the loop on what was Kenobi doing. Right? Like we meet Ben in the desert. And so we had an opportunity to kind of see what that relationship looked like. And again, there's tons of comic books in between about Kenobi's ventures and things of that nature. But like before you even jump into that, you had to see this impression of what Order 66 did. And I think people do not appreciate a whole nother storyline that has nothing to do with Anakin, nothing to do with Leia, but like all these planets and all these clones and soldiers, like you literally just dropped the bomb on everybody. It's a whole new world order across the universe that has some implication. Like the Jedi Order has been around for centuries, and like this, it's gone. Like they're just killing Jedi on command. You're killing a spirit energy. Like it has to be repercussions to taking that kind of energy out.
Right.
And Kenobi probably didn't do an amazing job of exploring that completely, but I think we touched on it.
It's a lot to do in 6 episodes.
Correct.
Like,
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
but I think in Andor, I think in Ahsoka, hopefully they will continue this theme of, and if you love Ahsoka the way I do, her story arc in Clone Wars started that emotional pull I'm talking about. Like, Ahsoka's not a Jedi anymore.
Right. No.
But she's also not Sith.
No.
She's a force-willing, spiritual person who was going through trying to navigate and still live a righteous justice life in this new world order. And so I only offer that because someone said, Van said, Trisha, what do you think about the story? For me, I'm okay with it. But I acknowledge the whoopses, the things that kind of feel a little like, where we're going with that, the things that they kind of had to force and do.
Right.
And so I wanted to provide that narrative just so if you allow yourself to take a step back, like it is bigger than Anakin.
Right.
And it is bigger than a Skywalker saga because it is a bigger universe and you have to ground people in what they know before we go jump off.
And to your point, like the more I'm listening to it, it's something that we should celebrate because I will say like from a technology standpoint and creative standpoint, like the prequels was kind of a testament, like, okay, I can do my vision now. These are different movies and I have new tools to play with and new technology that I'm actually developing to make like the stuff that like James Cameron's doing with Avatar. That's on a whole nother level.
Correct.
So
and he was vocal about how he was waiting till technology can catch up to his vision.
Right. So
That's exactly
I think as consumers we have to and not to stay on this, but like as consumers we have to kind of sometimes we have to take a step back from actually watching the episodes and just like appreciate.
Give a little leeway.
Yeah, give a little leeway. Like for example, this might be sacrilegious, but talking about Star Wars, but like Star Trek, the stuff that they're doing now with the Star Trek series, like
light years ahead.
Strange New Worlds is basically like giving you a prequel before the original Star Trek that you got back in the 60s, early 70s. And that technology was nowhere.
No, you literally had spaceships on a string,
right?
And you're looking at a black background,
right?
And woo, right? Like there's a woman really singing that, like singing, like
right. And some of that was in Star Wars too,
right? It was 1,000%, right. And I mean we loved it because it was advanced for that time,
right?
Like,
but now
imagination,
right? But you look at Strange New Worlds now, you like
my lord,
like, and again it goes back to story again. It's like. The elements are there.
Correct.
If you can write a good story and you merge the technology with it, you got a winner.
Yeah,
anyway.
so with you. So to that, I'll transition to arguably, I don't want to see the Darth Vader of 1978.
Right.
Because that man was wearing a 50 pound suit and could not swing
he was
a fake lightsaber the way. So it's like, I get the inconsistency of it, like, but I don't want to see that. I do want to see Vader in his prime, and this is probably what it was supposed to look at.
Correct.
So to
and I have to turn my brain off on that because
forgive me, but use your imagination. Like, what do you want us to do?
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, what you want them to go back
I
to?
acknowledge that flaw about myself, right? Like, I've always had this thing. It just irks me whenever I see even video games when they do prequels, right? You play a game, and then like 3-4 years later they'll bring out another game. Telling the story of the protagonist before, but they got all this dope stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because they made these advancements technologically, from console to console or whatever. And like, where was all that before? You see what I'm saying? And so I had to turn my brain off on that, like looking at the athletic ability that Vader seems to have.
You got more buttons now.
And you know what I'm saying? The force judo.
But it was dope,
that I need.
It was dope
in my life, but then I just can't help but think, why didn't he just force judo?
Yeah, stories ago.
Like you look at this Vader, and then you're like, Luke couldn't hang with this Vader.
But you know what it is? But it's the positive and negative of just what you said, Ryan. The property, like it's that strong. Yeah. Star Wars is that strong. Like my nephew watches this stuff, and he knows who Darth Vader is.
Right.
There's something to say about that. He was not born during any of this stuff.
No, Darth Vader's like Jordan.
And I didn't correct, and I haven't watched some things, but he inherently walked away with like. Darth is that dude, right? And he watched 1970 Darth. You know, he's not even
Semi-dark.
Yeah, because again, you're like in a 100-pound suit,
right.
pretending you're playing with this thing that's all like not
it's
really
nothing there. You
there.
just have a hilt.
Where today we're buying actual lightsabers.
Correct.
You know, so it's. I say it to say we have
It's
to laugh.
weird though.
It
Sorry,
is.
I mean, I
No,
mean to
you're
cut
right.
you off. But what's weird
Yeah.
about it is like, from a geek culture perspective, if you watch Captain America from, you know, or Spider-Man from 1978, give me the
Batman.
one that is. Give me Tom Holland. Like, it's
Right.
like,
Absolutely.
what are we doing?
I even do. Give me Morales. Like, give me the
Right.
cartoon, because of the level
Right.
of what
Yes.
and what we're accustomed to, especially in our generation, is that only happened in cartoons. So
Right.
cartoons, you allow that to happen.
You can do whatever
But
you want in
real
an animated
life,
movie. There's
right? In
no-
real life,
there's no
we're kind of like,
restrictions.
you could have been doing them flips a long time ago, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yoda didn't have to look so stiff, but
Right.
but that was literally, you know,
Yeah,
the Muppet
that was-
guy.
right.
Like I called you the other day, right? I called you and I said, I'm just going to hate on Star Wars this one time. And then I'll get off the phone. I'm sorry. So you would call little Grogu, put the Rancor to sleep. All he just walked up to him and put his little hand up and then took a nappy poo next to him. Where Luke had the hardest time in the world with that Rancor in Jabba's dungeon.
Well, there's an answer
He
for
had
that.
Is there?
It is. Grogu is
He's
at
a
this,
baby. He's not even a Jedi.
but he is a like 90-year-old baby.
He's 50.
Okay, how old
But
was
he don't. But every time
Luke-
he used the Force, he got to take a nap.
Okay, let's. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna move on because this is actually gonna probably cause more controversy than help. But the reality is, Luke's training was way fast tracked than any normal Jedi.
Oh my! Well,
because Anakin,
yeah.
remember they were beef with Anakin.
It was ridiculous.
At this
Yeah.
point, Anakin could do everything, and they refused to make him a master. Like he was a Padawan for like a long time. So we all have accepted because the Jedi Order does not exist like it used to. Luke was definitely on the fast track, and if you don't recall, he left training to go help.
But then he went back and Yoda was like, "You're
still not ready.
You're complete." No, he said, "You're complete. You just got to fight Vader. Now
But
let
while
me
it-
lie down and
But
die."
that's
While you're proving the point that
like it's
that's where you have to turn your brain off.
and that's what I'm saying.
Like I'm
giving an
agreeing
example
with you.
of my.
I'm agreeing
only-
with you because
you
the
only-
reality is he did not have the amount of training
Correct.
that most Jedi
Absolutely.
had, period.
Absolutely.
And he
or
started
the
as
story,
an adult.
or the story arc,
Right.
Because you're only operating.
Yeah.
Right.
The reason Luke got fast tracked because he only had 3 movies.
And that's
Correct.
right. And that's my
Correct.
flaw. And that's what I have to fight through.
And he was not a youngling, so he's completely against all the rules.
Right.
That's
All
because
the
remember,
rules.
baby Anakin was still too old
Right.
to go into training. And keep in mind, that you caught him at 10, and by the time we catch up with him in the second one, he's now like supposed to be 18
Yeah.
or something, and he still wasn't ready. We know good and plenty Luke didn't go through that. Luke literally got off of
Right.
Tatooine,
Yeah.
met Ben, picked up a lightsaber,
20 years old.
on a plane, practicing the lightsaber. You know, met Yoda. Now he floating planes. Speed up, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
He flipping and he's like, go to sleep and do
Right.
your
Right.
dip.
Putting everybody
to
sleep.
put it bluntly,
Yeah.
Like in a matter of like 2-3 years.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to put it bluntly,
That's right.
like
I mean, again, y'all don't come for me. Like this is just the reality of what happened, and it was great.
Yeah.
But you gotta realize too that like strip everything away, right? If we were sitting at a campfire and I came up with the original story, right, and it was compelling, right, and I told the story, and then say we do the campfire, 10 years later, it's like, oh Ryan, can you tell me that story again? And can we add more to it?
Yeah.
So
Give me more character development on that ghost. Right.
So
also, the ghost had a history too.
Facts.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of
Facts.
like
Yeah.
it's kind of like, well, yeah, there's gonna be some points where things are not gonna necessarily line
Mesh. Yeah.
Right. It's like, are you being entertained? Like
Not even that, or like I
That's
said,
to say.
let's not. Whether
Let's
you
not
like it or
pick
not,
through the little-
whether you
Right.
like it or
And
not,
I have to get past that.
And it's not you,
No,
it's-
I
it's
literally
not
do.
just you.
Like
No, it's not
I
just
got
you.
issues.
It's a challenge. I'm sure it's a challenge in the creative room.
Right.
Because I know we're going to wrap this up soon, but basically, what I beg people to just at least respect. You don't have to like it. Is we're talking about 45 years.
That's fact.
Of something that's a global phenomenon that's not getting old.
Right.
And so, like, just respect it. You don't have to like it. You have to watch it, but, like, okay. And can we move on? I think they are trying to move on. I really do think that they are going to try to push the story forward because we now have the technology time. It's still popular enough to do it. And I want to give Star Wars props. They're not taking us back. They're not doing redo of Return of the Jedi, which, you know, we've seen some franchises do. They're just filling in story blanks to push us forward.
Right.
Now, to that being said, all praises give to, you know, George Lucas. La 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 la. There are some things that I do think that this had issue with. My first issue is I think there's a problem that's happening with Disney, period. When we're creating these movies, like, they're intentional. We're going to make a 6-hour movie and then break it up into a series.
That's problem.
I think that's not working.
Yeah, Kenobi was a movie.
It was a movie. Originally, it was supposed to be a movie. Same
Solo
thing kind of happened with Moon Knight without me going into it. Because they were intentional. We're going to make a 6-hour movie. They got movie-like directors working on it. And the problem is that with an episodic show, you missing arcs. And so if you sit and watch the whole thing, I think you probably have less complaints. But when you're watching in episodic pieces, it's missing something. So again, Mandalorian, The Boys, they're made to be episodic. They're made there's a long-term journey, but then these things that happen at beginning and end, beginning and end, beginning and end, beginning and end. And then when you put it all together, it's like this beautiful piece. And I think where Kenobi, for me, it was a 6-hour movie trying to be chopped up, and that didn't work for me.
A fan recently edited Kenobi into 4.5, something like that.
2 hours.
He made it a movie.
And
that people were talking about how much better a watch it is. But it was a solo flopped, and they backtracked, and it was like, we'll just put this on.
And I don't. But
Disney,
Marvel and them are doing it because, again, I think the same thing with Moon Knight. When you watch the recap of Moon Knight, you have 3 movie directors who said that their biggest challenge was making a 6-hour movie. And it's like, that's probably part of the problem. Yeah. It shouldn't have been the goal shouldn't have been a 6-hour movie. It should have had the movie like feel and theatrics, but you're creating episodes. Because in Moon Knight, we did the same thing.
Remember, a lot of fluff too.
No, remember I rejiggered Moon Knight, and I was like, oh yeah, that actually makes more sense if we take 2 and 2. Like,
take 3 out.
Take 3 and move this over here. Right, so... But if I was watching it in the movie theater, I probably wouldn't have minded as much because it would have been a blip.
A lot of would have gotten cut and edited and wouldn't have made the movie.
Correct. Yeah. So I think that's something that I think Kenobi unfortunately suffered. I also think that it suffered from having places where there was not enough development and when they spent too much developing. Right. So the Leia storyline, I didn't think required that.
No.
God bless the little girl, but I don't think it required that much attention because. No. To everyone's point, we know what happens to Leia. We know what happens to Kenobi. Reva's new. I feel like there was times where you could have put more in that, more backflashes, more. We don't know anything about Reva, so or the Inquisitors for that matter. I was actually upset that we get more Inquisitor interaction. I mean, there's several Inquisitors outside of Reva, and just that whole piece and the inner workings of. Darth's castle and the
they need a whole series to do that, but how do you do that?
But you had time. The whole thing about what's happening with Palpatine, the shifting from going from, which Bad Batch more so talks about, but from going from clones to actual recruiting soldiers, there was time for stuff we don't know about.
Right.
Where I could have saved watching this little girl run through a forest for 1,000 times. like you could have cut that down a little bit because we know Leia's end, right?
Or escaping from
whatever she was doing, that little girl should not have run. No
overcoat on.
Shabby overcoat.
So there was little moments like that where I think they were trying to double down on her stuff.
Yeah.
I think we missed out on more, which I think everyone anticipated, learning more about the Jedi who got away.
Yeah.
And that whole secret tunnel, which again I'm hoping comes up more in Andor, a little bit maybe more in Ahsoka, probably more Andor than Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka's going to go more into Rebels territory. But that was rich. That Underground Railroad, all the different Jedi, anyone who was Force sensitive, who had there was time for that. And I think we just spent too much time on some other things that were not necessary. And I enjoyed Kenobi's arc. But there was some other arcs in there where I was like, okay, if you're going to do 6 hours, then where were those? And cut down on Leia and cut down on some other things. But I would end on a high note now that you guys talk because I know we didn't spend too much time on it. But whenever Darth Vader came on that screen.
It was it.
It was pure chef's kiss. These last 2 episodes of Darth and Christian, it was amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. I live for Darth Vader. He is still the number 1 villain.
He's still number 1.
Number 1. I mean, the Force, the way he tossed Reva around the room, the lessons. People why did he keep her alive? Because he can. Someone made a really good point on why he keeps her, because Darth only kills when he has to. Anything else he's punishing for to make a point. So when he killed those people in the towns because he needed Kenobi to come out, it had a point to killing. Any other time, he will just mal you up and spit you to the side because you're not worth his time. And I think, even with...
Because he killed many of his workforce.
He did.
And all you got to do is lose the Millennium Falcon one time.
But that's because he had a goal. He was trying to make a statement.
Yeah.
Right? There was no statement. Everything he did
Failure
for Reva
is unacceptable.
Reva, you're back to the gutter. You're no use to me, and you're not even worth killing. Like, I literally didn't even fight you, right? And so I want to just again appreciate how they did Vader. I think they did Vader right.
Yes. I enjoy Vader.
They did Vader. Attitude,
it was
frustration. Even at the end,
because of Vader.
Even at the end, when Palpatine was like, "You become a little too independent."
Yeah, you get a little too soft.
No, not even soft. You becoming too independent. That's not what this is about. I need you for bigger things. Vader had a much bigger role to play for Palpatine than chasing after Kenobi and these damn Jedi. He did
though intimate that your feelings. Are you sure your feelings are not?
You because you still as long as there's some emotion. Yep. Mad or positive connected to Kenobi, there's a power there.
That means
that's
love.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, you like soft on me,
I'm supposed to have this. No, but I'm supposed to have that power. I'm supposed to be controlling you. You still doing too much. So I think like it's little things like that that made me feel like, again, if you have to watch these animated series, because Palpatine's whole mission and all these other, he's a goal. Mm-hmm. He has a goal. He's trying to make his own clone. Like, I have things for you to do. This ain't it. Right. And so that for me was great. Also, last part, only thing also I think we didn't bring back he came back at the end and I was just like, you might have just left him out. People, because it was fan service. He should have came back in early in the Qui-Gon.
Oh yes, yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
because Qui-Gon is our attachment to the original Jedi, like Qui-Gon. But it was the last 3 seconds.
Yeah, it did feel a little like
I'd rather you just
shove him on in.
I'd rather you just not said nothing, and then we get a Kenobi 2 and Qui-Gon plays it back. Like, to me, it was just like I needed him earlier. Okay, those are my points. I'm done.
Or hit an emotional beat like in Mandalorian, where that Luke, when Luke entered the space,
right?
I almost rolled a tear. I was like, "This is the greatest."
Even if he would have gotten
him talking to Ahsoka, like even if they didn't do the conversation, I still get chill thinking about like, you talk about your father and your mother, like, and RDT, man, that's Star Wars magic right there.
Right. Yeah.
That's money.
Yeah, I mean,
still thinking about it.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying. And I do agree with you. I think they have to, with all these streaming services, they really have to perfect, and it just seems like Disney is doing that, the breaking up of movies. It just doesn't work well. They did that with DMZ, and that was obviously like, ooh, that was terrible. That was terrible. You could tell. Like I hate to.
Terrible.
Right.
Because Rosa, God bless you, sis, but that wasn't it.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not her fault. Again, like.
Right, it's not her fault.
They changed it up so much from the original.
And they probably had to, like, re-edit some things just to make it work.
Make stuff long and make time.
Yeah, it's like, no. So anyway, to double down on what you're saying about Vader, I really think, and this goes back to your point about people appreciating the bigger story, Vader is a fully fleshed out villain. Mm-hmm. Think about it. The Jedi was like, Jedi was like, you can't have feelings for this girl. Like, you know that, right? And he's like, but I'm feeling these feelings. This girl is like, this is my love.
Everything.
This is my everything. And they had to sneak off and do stuff. That is. Yeah. That's some powerful, to me.
Like, we probably know more about Vader than any other character in the universe outside of maybe
It's a tragic.
Even if you don't watch the whole thing of Star Wars, you're clear on his arc.
Right. He's a tragic hero if you think about it. Like, he was doing heroic stuff, and it was like,
wait a minute,
think about it.
I'm being used.
No, he really is. Is he really a villain?
Right.
It depends on your perspective.
Because he still fulfilled.
Right. The prophecy.
He was still the chosen one. He still got rid of Palpatine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, and like
sometimes you gotta be in the wilderness for 40 years. before you come out.
No, I'm trying to be funny. It really is the word.
No, facts.
It's the word.
But think about it. But like, that's what like the things that I responded to was like when they were showing like when Kenobi got like mauled up. You know, his arm got burned. And he was in the back of the tank, which I would say that was probably a better use of the back of the tank.
Right,
as a storytelling
any other back to tank we've ever seen.
Putting it out for everything.
As he was healing,
Fix the back of tank, Lord.
As he was healing, you were seeing
the flash. Yeah,
you were seeing the flashes with Anakin being kind of like in this.
Yeah,
like okay, I'm out of the suit, or like you know getting and they were doing the parallels.
Yeah,
and I appreciated
the back of tank parallels. Yeah,
yeah, I appreciated the story. I don't know if. Was Anakin in the back?
Yeah. When Vader is when he has to stay in one.
Yeah, he got to stay. Yeah.
And I like how they set it up where it goes back to Vader. Like this is the reason. This is how the back to tank. Sorry if I'm staying on that, but this is why the back to tank is a thing.
Yeah.
And it explained why Vader has to stay in there because his
in
body
there.
is so.
It's just.
These other guys is like, they just getting scratches.
Yeah, I'm saying, no, this dude, it's life-giving for this, it's life-sustaining for this guy.
That's his lifeline.
Right, but I love the parallels where Kenobi, I do agree with you. I think Kenobi, they should have brought Quinn,
Qui-Gon.
Yeah. Qui-Gon. My friend's named Quinn, and he loves Star Wars, and he
no, but it's spelled like Quinn. It's Quin. But anyway,
yeah. But it's not, So anyway, I just love that parallel, and I think that Qui-Gon should have been introduced in there.
At least if he had seen him during that fight, as a motivation, that'd have been cool.
You got this.
Or after that Jedi got slaughtered, it's like, come on, man. Like, you gotta wake up.
Wake up.
Like,
man, you could have saved that guy. Now he's strung up in the town square.
Like,
damn, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's where maybe some of the stories suffered. There might have been a stronger story if they, like, planned it as a series versus...
Yeah. Because it was they should have just went on ahead and stuck with their original plan. Not necessarily put it in the theater, but go ahead and make it a movie.
Stop responding to geek culture.
They responded to dollars. That was Solo flopped.
Solo was good.
It was great, but it didn't get the marketing, and so
was really.
So that's when they came out and announced it was like, well, we gonna take a break on these Star Wars movies.
See, that's the frustration though when you're building a universe, and we talked about this in the Marvel joint. It's like if you're building a universe, you're gonna get a flop or two.
Yes,
there's gonna be movies that
but
ain't
don't
gonna hit.
But don't get scared.
And
like knee-jerk reactions,
and/or might not hit. Right. Like, I mean, I'm sorry to say that.
No.
But it may or may right
because I don't know. Lord knows I can't stand the Ewoks.
Well, and then, it's like, is Luke going to be in, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, like, there's not going to be that.
Oh, no. Oh, Boba Fett. Boba Fett was a flop. I was very clear on that. Boba Fett was but I still sat here and watched.
The good Mandalorian 2.5.
Right. I'm excited about Mandalorian 3. I still watch. So to your point, like, I'm going to give y'all, Boba Fett was bad. Because, I mean, the whole universe didn't go down the toilet. Boba Fett was bad. Right? So, I'm with you. You allowed to make a mistake.
We didn't hate it.
Right.
Like there were some things in there I didn't like, but Obi-Wan still, I'd watch it again. Like,
I would say there was more. I'd say there was more moments where I was like calling y'all like, hey.
This is what's up. Yeah, there were less negative moments than positive. Yeah. Certainly, the positive outweighed the negative.
There was a couple of scenes where I was like, woo.
Yeah,
that little girl.
Yeah.
And they praising her like, oh, I'm like, yo, she's a little girl.
Man, Disney do better, man. They put out baby stars every day on their little shows.
That little girl was you need to
find somebody that can that.
I blacked out that scene where they were trying to escape the base and they had and three people in one overcoat.
Little rascals coat.
That's a scene that I think that you could have. The force part of it.
You should have deleted that scene.
Yeah, but you could have jumped and did more about something else. Just something
anything
else.
Yeah, that's right.
Reva getting like, because when they came back,
it looked silly.
And Darth was like getting Reva. I was like, yeah, like you did more of that.
Yeah,
or the other Inquisitors. Where were they? Like you had to like be cussing her out of fight. I mean, just like.
Or put her in something else where it feels like she's in danger. Like, like the tension is like she's rolling down this thing and she's stuck in this thing.
Right.
I know
we're trying to roll it.
I know we gotta go. But you know what part was dope? Remember when Reva was being pinned, the Inquisitor, and he told her to bow or kneel, and she was kind of a little shook because it took her back to childhood. Like that. That was again all the Darth ones were doing because he's like Neil, and she was kind of like.
What?
Like, does he know? Am I in
and
trouble?
He did come find out he did, but he was just like, yeah.
But that's what makes it so crazy because it was a complete mind.
Yeah,
loop.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
it
he was mind looping her the whole
it was.
entire time.
Right.
I would say to those fans out there who, I would ask them to chime in, but they already have. They've been chiming in. They've been chiming in ever since the last episode.
The conversation's been rich. I have to shout out to I mean, Van was good, Jason, a couple other folks.
Yeah.
We had like a whole thread on it, and it was good.
Yeah.
So apologize it took us so long, but I kind of felt like we did a good recap, kind of online.
Yeah.
And people watched it. Thank you for watching. Like,
Yes.
Listen to the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for enduring something that you didn't want to watch in the first place.
We appreciate that. I mean, because the thing is, try it, and if it wasn't your thing, but I do say hang in there. I think Andor. I think I'm really excited about Ahsoka. I really am. I read it.
I am too, actually.
If for what it's worth, if you have a chance,
the neutral force user. I like that.
Read the Ahsoka book. Ahsoka has a book out. Right. Read it. If you don't want to physically read it, you can listen to it on what's the thing on Audiobook?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. It's actually a really, really good story. So I'm excited for them to pick up on that and watch Rebels. People sleep on Rebels. Rebels was great.
Right. And I think that's the point, to our community. It's like the world is tough. Like some of this stuff is just an escape. Like, read a comic book. Like this is
check
stress
out.
relief. Yeah, check out for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Watch this stuff.
Amen.
Yeah, it might not be your cup of tea. But
it's not just
it's not serious. One,
yeah. So and so we appreciate.
Find a character you love. You ain't like everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you all again, man. You know what I'm saying? Just hanging out with us, being patient with us first and foremost.
Yeah, for sure.
And then again,
you love you guys.
Yeah, because
sometimes
we really do feel
for the whole
month of July.
Just in case you missed it.
Yeah. Facts.
I like Star Wars.
Yep, she does. That indeed. Yep. Get her another purple lightsaber. So, here we go. So, thank y'all again. We appreciate y'all. And we'll holler at you.
Peace.